Hey guys, we just had a crazy idea. What would happen if Hype the raccoon and Misha the alibi were locked in a room together and left alone for an hour? What's so crazy about that, you might ask? And the thing is that the raccoon is an incredible fidgeter. He is constantly chewing on something, climbing everywhere, and it is impossible to leave him unattended for a long time. To some extent, this behavior is inherent to Alabai Misha. But the difference is that Misha is still a baby and tries to chew absolutely everything that falls into his teeth. That's why it is interesting how they will interact in a closed space. By the way, about the place. The children's room was chosen as the location. The reason is quite simple. Here are the least valuable items, and the TV here is at a safe height. But the chair will have to be removed, or rather, changed. When my son comes home from school, he will not like it. We'll also remove the laptop and humidifier from the table. Those are all the preparations needed. We can now move on to starting the animals. To maximize the coverage of the area, we installed 5 cameras. One action camera is on the ceiling, and another one is by the door. Also, one camera was placed in each corner of the curtain and one in each corner of the floor. We'll find out soon enough what came of it. First, we let Misha the alibi into the room, and he feels quite comfortable here, like he's on his own turf. Although this area is much better known to Hype the raccoon, who follows. So the experiment has officially begun. And it all started with Misha making attempt after attempt to get closer, to play, and Hype hissed suspiciously in response, and the puppy was a little alarmed. After a couple of minutes, the raccoon got into the space between the table and the wall. But the alibi began to wait for him nearby. Seeing that the tactic did not work, the raccoon came out of hiding, to which Misha was glad and decided to touch him a little. But you shouldn't mess with a raccoon, even if you're an alibi. Hype started swinging his paws back quite nimbly. Having decided that there was nothing to do on the floor, the raccoon climbed onto the bed, where their communication continued. Misha was obviously very happy to have such company, as he wagged his tail. But Hype is not very happy about this neighborhood, and moved to the far corner of the bed. Misha continued to advance here as well. Having sat on the bed, Hype wanted to go somewhere else, but ran into Alabai and went back. Misha wanted to get on the bed as well, but the raccoon wouldn't let the dog into his territory. After that, Hype wanted to get closer to the window, but was overtaken by an alibi. He climbed under a chair, which puzzled Misha. Then the raccoon moved to the table. And Misha decided that since the bed was unoccupied, it was his turn to lie there. But soon enough, he got bored, and the dog returned to the raccoon. Putting his paws on the table, Misha tried to get to the raccoon again, but he hid behind the curtain. So Misha frustratingly went to the bed and stole the toy from there. And then he went to Hype again, to show off his booty. Without waiting for a reply, the puppy went to chew on the toy himself. The raccoon watched it all idly from behind the curtain. Then the alibi got bored with one toy and started to chew Peppa the pig as well. After that, he went back to the first toy. He had to make a choice, grabbing one or the other. Meanwhile, the raccoon came out from behind the curtain and settled between the windowsill and the table. Soon, Misha remembered about Hype and tried to reach him again. He even started barking. Pretty soon, the dog came back and lay down. Now that the video is being edited, we already know what was going on in the room. But back then, when we entered the room an hour later, we were surprised. Nothing was broken or chewed, and in general, it was not as scary as it seemed at first. Misha is laying quietly on the floor, with toys scattered around him. Hype is hiding behind the curtain, and you can see that these guys jumped on the bed a little bit. Nothing terrible happened. Even children could have done more in an hour. Let's leave our animals alone for another hour. As soon as the doors were closed, everything started again. Alabai and the raccoon continued to play near the table. After that, they both climbed under the table, but the raccoon quickly got bored and climbed back to the radiator from where Misha tried to pull him away. Meanwhile, the raccoon quietly climbed onto the windowsill, happy that the dog would not get him there. But Misha disagreed and came in from the other side, and the raccoon began to grab Misha's face with his paws. Having failed to figure out how to get to the raccoon, Misha went to the bed, from where he stole a turtle and immediately began to rub it. But noticing the raccoon moving on the windowsill, he returned to his friend. A little bit biting the curtain, behind which the raccoon was hiding, Misha returned to his favorite occupation and lay down on the mat. Meanwhile, Hype returned to the table and turned on the lamp for some reason. After that, he broke off the side cover of the windowsill, which Misha had picked up, and began to torment. After a while, Hype moved back to the table, and Misha tried to get on it again. After a while, the dog started to rub the doll again, but he got tired and decided to lie down. Meanwhile, the raccoon decided to climb onto the chair. The Alabai thought it was his chance, but he could not get close, and Hype went back to the table. In upset feelings, Mishanya snatched a toy bulldog from the bed and started to attack the plush fellow. Hype also became more active in the second hour. For example, now he was interested in the drawers of the table. Here, the raccoon decided that it was safe on the floor and carefully slipped onto the mat through the chair. Once on the floor, Hype started sniffing the toys scattered by Misha. Further, we suggest watching without comments. It's not a sporting match after all. It's time to assess the damage from such an experiment. Misha is tired, and Hype is breathing heavily. It must have been a long run. The side plug was torn off the windowsill. They managed to tear the curtain near the windowsill. And the raccoon turned on the lamp, as you can see for yourself. And it also turned out that during the first hour, the Alabai almost tore off Peppa Pig's leg. That's how 2 hours alone together turned out for the raccoon and the Alabai. Bye-bye.